You're supposed to be detecting my face, but you're focusing on an ice cream cone behind me. Hello. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I realized that there's a video that I've been putting off forever. I actually searched my own channel and searched YouTube to see if I had ever made this video because I think that I have been planning it for so long that I thought I had done it already. I haven't. So this is Kosas, what is worth it and what is not. I just did one of these for Victoria Beckham Beauty. I tend to do this with brands that I'm just like super interested in and happen to own or have tried all of the everything that they've ever made. So that's the case with Kosas. I have tried all of them. There are a few that I don't have anymore because I've decluttered them, but I filmed inserts of me putting all of these on my face. I am going to insert those, as it were, throughout the video as I'm talking about the products, but I'm going to go through each product one by cute little one and tell you guys my thoughts on them and who I think they're for, why I like them, why I would pass on them, etc. And maybe if the video is not too long, I will do a quick smash or pass at the end. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the quick and dirty spiel on Kosas as it relates to my experience with them, you know, I did all clean beauty in 2019, clean routine 2019. Kosas was one of the brands that really rose to the top for me as a brand that performs like prestige beauty and happens to call itself a clean beauty company. I'm really not even sure that they self-identify that way anymore. Since I started using them in 2019, I feel like this brand has done a really good job of evolving with their audience. They are part of what the gulch that is the subreddit Beauty Guru Chatter would call a social brand. So they have gotten most of their rise to notoriety and popularity by being very fun to follow on social and also by incorporating a lot of influencers. Myself being one of them, proudly. They have never once pushed back when I've told them, no, I don't want to promote that product because I didn't like it. You know, they're like, cool, see you next time, and they still come back around. I just think that they are, as social brands go, because it's a risky thing to do, because you are so open to criticism at that point, I think they've done a good job. So, first, I used this. This is the Tinted Face Oil. This was the first thing that I ever got from Kosas. It was on Goop. It was written up on all these blogs as just this miraculous, what in the heck is it? It is a soupy thing that doesn't look anything like a regular foundation, right? Because it's a tinted oil. I have fallen in and out and in and out and in and out of love with this formula because in hot weather, it does funny things. It's basically just really beautiful mineral pigments suspended in skincare type oils. It's very gentle. I find that my skin really likes it. It doesn't complain. It has had some strange reactions with some products and not others as far as my skincare that I put on before it. So SPF and stuff. I used to think it was all silicones, or I used to think that it was all water-based things. I have arrived at the fact that I have no idea and that I'm not a scientist. But today I used this first on top of all my skincare, and then I actually put the Fenty body sauce on top of it, and it was wonderful. It was just a really nice texture. They mixed together really nicely on my skin, and I like the finish that it gave me. I feel like this is just so loose. Obviously, literally, that's the point of it. That putting something like this to thicken it up a little bit, it kind of was the, you know, magic combination for me. And I think that they know, as far as the way that the brand has evolved, that this is a product that has a lot of lovers and a lot of like, it's polarizing. And I think they counterbalanced that with the formula when they came out with the Revealer Concealer. So how do I feel about this? I feel pretty good about it. The main people I have heard from in my comments who love this formula are the people who literally want to put something on before they get on Zoom or before they drop their kids off at the parent drop off or whatever. And you can pretty much put this on without a mirror. It has almost no coverage. My arbitrary scale of coverage, it's about a 3. It doesn't really build. It is a really nice satin finish that's like better than reality. It doesn't wear a super long time, but it also doesn't break up in a very noticeable way. It doesn't have any kind of technology to it as far as being wet and then drying down on your face. And for that reason, I would say a conditional yes. And that's why I continue to keep it around. Like I gave it to a friend of mine who was just like, I hate makeup. Like it's makeup for people who hate makeup, and she loves it. Oh, I got it. I'm really sorry if you guys could see in 4K this gigante fuzz that was on my face that whole freaking time. So talking about the Revealer Concealer. Like I said, this was kind of a counterpoint to that original tinted oil formula because the tinted oil is so loose and it's so simple, and this is much more like a high performance, long wear, prestige type concealer formula. This is such a beautiful formula. I love it so much. And the beauty of it in combination with the tinted oil is that they kind of balance one another out. This, in my arbitrary scale of coverage, you can pretty much get an 8 out of it. Like, it's almost full coverage, and it's a little bit matte. Like, it's a little bit satin, it's still hydrating. But when you put them on together, they blend so well together that you can really control the coverage, and you don't think of it as foundation and concealer anymore. You just kind of think of it as like what you want as far as your complexion is concerned. And so that's what happens when you blend these two things together. You would not think that these two formulas would work together as well as they do, but they really, really do. They do not fight one another. The best thing about this, I feel like, and why I picked it up and never put it back down basically, is just that it works in so many instances. You can wear this without anything under it. I mean, obviously like your skincare and stuff. You can wear it on top of sunscreen basically, and it'll blend in if you have the color that's like this super closest to your skin. And it's going to look like actually no makeup, but it will also wear on top of like full coverage. You can powder it. It is long wearing in that sense. You can use it as an eyeshadow primer. It actually has like covering and brightening abilities. And I should mention the shades that I wear. This is 01, but I think I started with 3 in this and it was still fine. That's how little coverage it is. That was just me being clueless. And I have 01 and 1.5C, 01N and 1.5C in the Revealer Concealer, and you'll see I use both. 1.5C is my complexion color. It's if I want to cover something and have it disappear into the rest of my face. 1 is more of a brightening concealer color for me. I can't say enough about this formula. This is a like hard smash, just smashity smash smash over and over again. And yeah, I love this so much. All right, let's talk about some stuff that I don't have in my hot little hands right now. The bronzer. I passed on the bronzer, mainly because, and I wanna say, it has 3 shades, light, medium, and deep. And the lightest was still a little bit too warm for me, and it is sporkly. And I'm not super into a sporkly bronzer as my only bronzer shade. So that is why I skipped on that one. Now, similar packaging. Where did she go? What do I do with things, fam? Okay, so this I do have in my hot little hand. This is their Cloud Set setting powder. This is actually a brand new one that they sent me. Like I said before, not in this video. Hi, if you're new here, ignore me. It does tend to hard pan if you're not careful about picking up enough product before you put it on something dewy, because then you'll redistribute a little bit of the dewiness back onto there. You can always just kind of wipe it off with a towel as you go, like stay on top of it, but it does have that tendency a little bit, though I think it's worth it. It's a pattern that I see in this kind of formula a lot. This kind of formula being a powder that has something a little bit luminous to it, but not iridescent at all. There's no highlight quality to this. And it comes in a bunch of shades, which is great because it does add a teeny tiny bit of coverage. But I think that the best thing about it is just the way that it mattifies without looking like gummy. Because especially with the rest of their products, the complexion products and their cream cheeks, which we'll get into in a second, it gets pretty emollient. The face gets dewy. And so this being something that can stand up to that without getting like gross and mucky is pretty impressive. I do recommend tapping this on, picking up quite a bit of it and then tapping it on, but it does a great job of participating and agreeing with their formulas in a totally different way than like Wowder does with Glossier. I can't really explain Wowder. It's from space. This has the same consistency to me as like the Pat McGrath under eye, or kind of like the Well People Bio-Based Baked Brightener, which I think they've changed the name of, but that one's just, it's so much fun to say. But yeah, it's got this really, really lovely brightening effect to it without being like reflective, which is wonderful. Especially for people who don't want to look mattified, but you also don't want your makeup to be all soupy. It's a great way to control the way that the light hits your face. So as you can see here, I've got, you know, a good bit of like reflection and stuff like that, but it's all controlled. I was able to have so much control with these products. So this is a definite hit. definite hit. Okay, let's talk about these cream cheeks. So in lieu of a bronzer, and you guys know this is something that I've been talking about for ages and ages, this was actually the first shade that I ever got in their Color and Light Cream. This is called Tropic Equinox. So Tropic Equinox is what some might call a nude blush, a thing I did not know existed, but apparently. And it is, on me, this is the regular one, not the high intensity. On me, it's a very gentle, warm, golden kind of bronzer. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of with these is the way that they sort of solidify back into the pan, and so you really have to work to break them through again. Also, no matter how little you put on, they are dewy. They are so dewy. In the time that these came out, I have to give them credit where credit's due, this was what we wanted. We wanted this skincare based makeup vibe. We wanted to just look so effortless that it looked like all of our makeup was basically just tinted skincare, and we were okay with the long wearingness of it. Like, that was okay. I think that we've moved past that and we want more performance even with that vibe, because there have been these innovative formulas coming out that are hybrids, and they are both satin or dewy satin hybrid kind of, you know, finishes that wear in a really healthy looking way on the skin, but they have a much longer wear time. You know, I'm talking about like Rose Ink. That is such an epically beautiful cheek formula. I think that Kierweiss has been doing that maybe the whole time. The Melt Cosmetics blush lights, they're just innovative and they're lighter weight, and they have a lot more flexibility and more use cases in that respect. And much like the Patrick Todd duos that I love so much, I have become accustomed, and I think a lot of us have become accustomed to combining powders and creams. And when you're using a cream like this, you have to be so careful about not getting mucky texture on your face, which honestly is irreversible. Once you've done that in a makeup look, it's really hard to fix it. That is my drawback here, with the caveat that this used to be what we wanted. I would love to see them evolve a little bit, make something that is a lighter weight formula for a cream with more pigment to it, so that it isn't so heavy on the skin. But the colors are gorgeous, and they deserve, again, credit where credit's due, because one of the biggest criticisms that they got when these came out was that they didn't really work on every skin tone. They didn't really translate, and they were kind of ashy. And they put out, I will show you guys, I have two. I'll start at the beginning here. They completely reformulated all of their cheek products and made them vegan, which was really cool. They also got the feedback that people didn't like getting the same highlighter in the duo every single color that they bought. They were like, why do I need that much highlighter? It's all the same highlighter. So they made a coordinating highlighter for each shade. Very smart. And then they put out a high intensity version of every shade. So as you can see, Velvet Melon, the original one right here, super light and peachy. And then this one is gonna be a lot deeper. And honestly, I'm glad I own both. They're different enough, I'll show you, that it's not like owning a dupe and it's just one's slightly more saturated. It's like, no, that is a richer, more coral peach, and this is a much more light golden peach, and it's so that it has a similar warming effect on the skin for different skin tones. I think that that's pretty well informed. I'm not a professional makeup artist on other people, but as far as my color theory acumen, that makes more sense to me. And the highlights are different too. Yeah, I think that that was the first time that they revamped one of their lines in response to feedback that they've gotten online, which, you know, was cool. So when they did that, they also made this vegan, and I repurchased it when they did. So this is, why, the tissue stuck to my fingernail, sorry. Color and Light Pressed, and this is the shade Papaya 1972. I really used to think that that was my shade, and I just don't think so anymore. It's a little bit too orange, but the thing that they did when they made this vegan was they took the carmine out of it. And carmine, when I would put the old version of this on, I would look at my face an hour later and the carmine had turned into little red dots, like someone had taken a spoolie with like red makeup and gone on my face. I mean, everywhere. And I was like, well, that's not cool. I don't like that at all. So I was excited when they reformulated it, and now it works for me. You guys will see in the footage that when I put this on, I was like, okay, that's not a standalone shade on me. I didn't need a different, you know, kind of watercolor effect on top of it. So what I ended up doing was powdering, putting this on with a little bit of the highlight, and then I went over that with a cream color. I think I went with a high intensity Velvet Melon, and it's a really, really beautiful, rich, corally pink. So smash or pass, I would say, you know, obviously the powder, it's a beautiful formula, but you know, get the right shade, go in the store and look at them, I guess. And again, I like the blushes, the cream blushes and the highlighters. I reach for these mainly because the shades are so unique. They are really, really interesting. They're not just like a straight down the middle, like rose, berry, whatever. Like they are nuanced. They have like lavenders and like really cool rich peaches and stuff like that that you just don't see everywhere. And I'm willing to put up with the formula for that. The formula is not a horrible, horrible deal breaker. It's just a little bit more frustrating to work with. Okay, let's talk about my eyes. So they have come out with a lot of stuff recently for the eyes, but one of the original things that they came out with, and this was one of those like, I feel like, you know, like Glossier, taking a different angle on an eyeshadow so that they didn't put out a palette. Of course, we all know what Glossier just did, but either way, this is the 10-second eyeshadow. This is in the shade Globe, and it is a very, very comparable shade if you are familiar with the Charlotte Tilbury, used to be called Marie Antoinette, now it is called Oyster Pearl. Super, super similar color. The behavior of it is actually pretty similar too because it will crease. There are ways of getting these things to crease less, but it's not going to behave like a silicone-based crayon. This is pretty, but I hardly ever reach for it just because it's so, so soupy, and I say this every single time, but like every person that I saw review this, myself included, when it first came out, poured it in their lap because the little seal right here doesn't seal it enough. It would lead you to believe that it is going to be water safe, liquid tight, whatever. It's not. So don't turn this over. It will pour out in your lap. Very, very pretty. You know, I've owned a few of these and I decluttered them and then they sent this one to me and I was like, all right, I'll give it another shot. And I think my skills had kind of come along, but I did end up topping this. This is not, you know, sitting alone on my eyes. It's kind of boring on its own. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'm not a 100% one and done eyeshadow person, like unless it's sparkly. I just like a little bit of sparkle. So I added a little bit of the Rowan 75 Degrees Warm palette on top just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I just needed a little bit of Megan Sparkle, you know? I used the Victoria Beckham pencil in Mocha for my eyeliner, and I used their mascara. This is the newly reformulated The Big Clean. Let's talk about this. So the old version of The Big Clean was gorgeous. I got it right when they debuted it. It was gorgeous. It did smudge, but I did not find it to be criminally smudgy. It was a very bulky mascara. I assume those things are going to smudge, you know, it just kind of is what it is when it's not a tubing formula, and I prefer a tubing formula, always. But when I peel back the layer of my own personal preference and I, you know, look at just the performance of that original formula, I loved the way that it looked. Yes, it smudged. The thing that was supposed to happen with this one was that it was supposed to smudge less. I will say it is a much drier and lighter weight formula. And as it goes on, I feel like I have so much control. As it lifts my lashes, it really separates them. And I don't get a lot of length, but I get a ton of volume. I feel like it really like richens the roots and makes them look really fluttery. It still smudges. I don't really notice a whole lot of improvement in terms of the smudging. That's just my personal opinion. But then again, I am also very biased towards my tubing mascaras. So take that with a salt bay, you know, of my personal feelings. If you're willing to put up with a little bit of smudging, it is beautiful, but I tolerate no smudging, so. Two things that they came out with pretty recently, actually it's technically three. They're brow products. Ooh, she looks nasty. I've been using her for a while and it just gets so milky, doesn't it? Anyway, this is Brow Pop and Air Brow. This was a totally awesome surprise to me when these came in the mail. They partnered with Emma Chamberlain for this release. Like, she looked so cute in the ads. I freaking love her. Anyway, yes, this is a brow pencil and these are brow gel mousse things. This is the shade Medium Brown. And this is obviously clear. I love the clear one because, you know, it looks like an iridescent clicky pencil. So does this. Anyway, I love these. I use these all the time. I use these whenever they're within reach. You know, I am a mess, okay? Like chaotic, I'm a mess. I have a very, very messy desk, and so I tend to kind of use whatever brow product I can find in the heap. But when I have my druthers, if I'm packing for a trip or something like that, these are the ones that come with me because they're so reliable. I love how sturdy this pencil is, even though it has like a kind of dash and point shape. It's like a teardrop shape. There we go. It's a little bit of a teardrop shape, but all in all, it's actually very tiny. So I think it's great. That said, it's pretty hard to offend me with an eyebrow pencil. As long as it's not a huge honking waxy crayon, I'm okay. So it's just about finding the right shade. And they came out with 10 shades in these, at least the initial release. I wanna make sure I'm right about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, that was the thing that probably excited me the most about this release because yeah, a brow pencil is, give or take, a brow pencil. You're going to have your likes and your dislikes, but it's very rare that you find a brow pencil that's like a brand new concept, but it shouldn't have been a brand new concept to put out a shade for everybody. They've got cool blonde, warm golden blonde, light brown, dark blonde, true auburn, warm medium brown, dark brown, brown black, black, and gray. They really, really did it. And then while a brow pencil doesn't necessarily need to jump through a lot of hoops to, you know, super impress me, a brow gel does. I want hold, I want the right amount of pigment, the texture, like the finish that it dries down to matters, and the ability to build. Buildability, some might say. It really, really matters to me because, you know, I think that your brows aren't the same every single time that you do your makeup. Sometimes you want to put one coat on, sometimes you want to put 2 coats on, sometimes you want to pencil them in, sometimes you don't, sometimes you want to put a little bit of clear on there and make those model brows. And for a lot of us, people always ask me, khaki, you know, they're like, what do you do to make your brows do that? I won the brow lottery. I have absolutely no complaints about my eyebrows. I have brows that sit flat against my skin and they basically grow some errant hairs underneath them and I tweeze those, but this is what remains. I got really, really lucky. And I also got lucky that they returned after I expelled them in like elementary and middle school when I found my mother's tweezers and, you know, basically told them that they were dead to me. They still came back. So thank you, brows. I appreciate you. But I don't think that this necessarily has the like brow lamination hold that a lot of people would want. Like the Refi is the most holding brow gel that I've ever used, but it's also prone to flaking. It has about as much hold, slightly less hold than Boy Brow, but I actually sometimes like it better than Boy Brow because it is a little bit shinier. Boy Brow's a little bit dull and matte because it has fibers in it, and I think that that's a great one and done product. Boy Brow is amazing for one and done because you don't have to pencil your brows in. If you have brow hairs, it will fill in the gaps just with the gel, but for Kosas, it is so much more control because you end up with like this very designed brow where you can kind of see the individual brow hairs still, instead of it just sort of mattifying them. Sometimes that's the vibe that I'm going for, and I wouldn't have known that until I tried it. I really, really enjoy this formula and I like to use both. I like to use the color and the clear. So these are a winner. And again, 10 shades and a clear. Okay, before we jump into the etc. type products that they have, or like just look at the website and make sure that I covered everything, I'm going to talk about these. These are the wet lip oil from Kosas. I like these muchly. This is my third one of Jellyfish. I have really used the crap out of these and mucked them all up. Actually, I have one more product that I have to talk about too. Regardless, I have Jellyfish and I have Dip. They are both beautiful. I would have this in every single shade if I could. It is the right amount of pigment, which is, you know, the pigmented ones do actually have pigment to them. Very, very beautiful. Again, I do feel like Kosas gets color. They understand the nuance of undertones, and they make shades that are slightly different. You know, like that's actually kind of a tough color to describe because it's got something coral to it, it's got something kind of terracotta to it. It's not orange. I'm gonna spend all day trying to describe this color. What I'm trying to say is their colors are intelligent. So those are an absolute smash for me. They are a very, very nourishing lip oil that looks really beautiful and glossy, a nice smell, no taste, and fairly long wearing for as lightweight as they are, and they don't do any creepy stuff, any white ring of death around your lips. This is the one that I have here because I think that I have put all the other ones in bags. Put them in bags. You guys know what I mean? No, they're like floating around in purses because I use them so much. This formula is like ride or die for me. So this is the Kosas Sport Lip Fuel. I'm sorry, Kosas Sport Lip Fuel. And this is the shade Rush. So it is pinky. I could actually wear all of these. I'm like shocked. They're very pigmented for a sport lip balm, but the formula is outstanding. It has lanolin and beeswax in it. It is long wearing. It is nourishing. It actually cures my lips when they are in distress, which was something that I could only really ascribe before to like the glossierbalm.com or something else that has beeswax and lanolin in it, because it needs to be long wearing and it has to actually nourish my lips. Now, lanolin offends a lot of people. I happen to have a nipple allergy to it. I discovered that the hard way in the hospital, but my lips seem to be fine with it. So yeah, that's why I love this formula so much. The colors are very, very pretty. I did do an entire lip swatch video of these, so I will link that somewhere in the ether. But the formula is, it's just really, really good. Oh, and the CBD one, I don't really know if the CBD makes a difference, but I like it. It works great. Now they're lipsticks. I don't have any on hand because I've passed them along. I never really had any shades that worked really, really well for me for every day, but the formula is gorgeous. It smells like vanilla. It's in really luxurious packaging. It looks like, you know, like NARS or something. And it's this beautiful, lightweight, silky, balmy kind of lipstick, and the colors are incredibly rich. And again, really, really cool and nuanced. Like the red is like it's like a perfect rich red, and they have this really awesome like purple one. They have a whole menagerie of kind of pinky nudes, and I have passed those along either because they broke in transit, and I think that that was something that has kept them off my radar for a while. I don't know if they're gonna reformulate them or if they already have or anything like that, but I didn't buy any more of them because I think like 2 of them out of the 4 that I got broke in transit and like were unable to be used. And then the other 2 I ended up giving to my sister because she's deeper skin tone, deeper complected than I am, and she could wear those really, really rich lip colors. So gorgeous formula, but I'm just not really a lipstick gal, you know? And that was why I passed those along to her. The Chemistry Deodorant. I have burned my way through one of them, and when I say burned my way through, it probably took a year. I cannot believe how long that tube lasts. That thing is $15, and it comes in an unscented, which is what I had before, and then they have just their regular like fresh scent, which is what I have now. I don't even notice the scent. I don't even think that it matters. It's probably there if you like stick it up to your nose, but it's by no means like anything that I smell through the day. But the active ingredient is mandelic acid, and it actually works. It's an AHA. It works like a charm. Keeps me from smelling for up to 2 days sometimes on one application. It is wonderful, and unlike a lot of these other mandelic acid brands, it's completely clear and a very thin liquid in a, you know, modestly sized roller ball. There's absolutely nothing I would change about that product. It's perfect. And it was the gold at the end of the rainbow of a very, very long rainbow road. Let's just go with this metaphor, Khaki. As I'm driving along on Mario Kart, it just kept falling off. That's just what I kept doing. But when I finally reached me Lucky Charms, it was the Cosas. So thank you for inventing it, Cosas. Wow, okay, so speaking of AHAs and things I put on my body, this is the Good Body Skin AHA and Enzyme Exfoliating Wash. It is $18. It is also great. I just finished my first one of those and ordered another one. I love their packaging lately. It's just really like simple, but also just a little bit fun. I love this like powder blue. I also love that their stuff is very unisex, like the fragrances and everything like that. It's just very everyone friendly. No flowery scents, no like, you know, powdery scents, anything like that. So the Good Body Skin smells not really specifically like anything. If anything, it's a little bit maybe citrusy, maybe, but it's just clean smelling, but not like fake linen smelling, just clean. And it doesn't linger at all. It doesn't make any decisions for you. It's not like, here's how you're gonna smell today, Khaki. I really, really like it, especially because I have KP. I do everything in my power to like just AHA the crap out of myself all the time. And this really, really helps. Do not put this in your eyes. It has AHAs in it and it will aha right into your eyes and it does not feel good, but on the rest of my body, it's great. And I believe that there is the ticket, guys. I think that's all of them. So let's do a quick smash or pass. Airbrow, smash. Brow pop, smash. The big clean, pass. Airbrow clear, smash. Revealer concealer, smash. Chemistry deodorant, smash. Cloud set, smash. Tinted face oil, smash. Good body skin, smash. Wet lip oil, smash. Lip fuel, smash. Sun show bronzer, pass. Weightless lipstick, smash. Color and light palette, powder, smash. Color and light palette cream, pass. 10-second eyeshadow, smash. And I think that's pretty much it. So, you know, there are caveats to the passes and some of the smashes, but regardless, that's why you watched the whole video, right? I hope you did. If you did, and you liked it, you should give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing while you are here, because if my chaotic sensibility is your preferred delivery system for this kind of information, well, you have really come to the right place, haven't you? I try to make these videos as helpful, informative, and honest as possible. And also, the thoughts in my brain don't always make sense. And I share those too. So if you like that, maybe subscribe while you're here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you so gosh darn much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!